Hi, my name is John Hamilton de Cruza. I actually have just finished a book. And actually, the reason the book was written, believe it or not, is actually because of these Asians and Friends conferences. I was born in London, and we had an icon in London, 1996, I believe it was. And coming over on the airplane, I was talking to friends of mine sitting next to me, and I was telling them, you know, when you come to London, I'd like to take you to where I was born, where I grew up, and I'd also like to take you to Buckingham Palace and give you a tour. And this started my brain thinking. And then suddenly, somebody, I think it was Michael Group, said to me, and sitting next to me also was Jerry Cox. And they were talking to me about, well, you know, you really should write about this. And I think what you had said earlier, I thought, well, first of all, I don't know how to write. I can barely spell. So Michael Group, you know, has said to me, well, I think it'd be interesting. And I thought, okay, I'll try. So in London, we did all of these things I've just mentioned, and I was in Buckingham Palace on a tour with them, and as we were walking around, I was saying to them, this is where this happened, that's where that happened, so on and so on. And the tour guy come over and he says, what's going on back here? And Michael or Jerry or somebody said, well, he's telling us about Buckingham Palace. He used to work here. Oh, really? So anyway, one thing came to another. Coming back, we were talking about the book, and Michael said to me, what are you going to call it? So I said, well, I think I've come up with a title. I'm going to call it The Homecoming Queen. And they said, oh, that's a wonderful title. So I started to write the book, which now I understand is a memoir, not a biography. I started to write it, and it got published in Asian Friends newsletter, I believe for about 6 months, and then I stopped.
Oh, yeah?
And then...
You stopped or they stopped?
I stopped.
Oh, you stopped.
Writing.
Okay.
Well, at that time I was the editor, so it was also maybe not very appropriate. Anyway, I stopped writing for about maybe 2 years, and then Michael was bothering me, kept calling me, when are you going to finish?
Yeah.
I want to see it. So I got up to 4 chapters, and I sent it to him to edit.
Yes.
Because I knew it had to be edited. And he was encouraging me, saying, oh, this is really interesting. So I continued to write, and I've actually just finished it about 6 weeks ago.
Okay. And
I finished it here in Fort Lauderdale, because I knew that if I didn't finish it, he was going to be bitching and carrying on. Right now, it's 1,000 pages.
Oh, my goodness.
So obviously, I need an editor, but it is a very, I think, very funny and very amusing. But what I really wanted to tell you is what was strange to me is in the beginning, I was getting bored and I wasn't enjoying it. Then when I moved to Bangkok, believe it or not, I had so much free time. I know that sounds strange. I had so much free time that I found myself getting up 5, 4, 6 in the morning.
Good point.
And I would sit down at the computer or my laptop for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, where is this coming from? Because I was remembering things, even names. I never heard voices, so I must be okay, I guess. But it's amazing that once I was doing this, these words just kept flowing.
Yep.
And that's why it's 1,000 pages long.
Well, and you make a very, John, you make a very good point, and that is that also the one thing I didn't mention about most of us have a time of day. I'm like you. I write from early in the morning until about breakfast. But then I can't write anymore. I'm done for the day. I mean, I write for 4 or 5 hours, but I'll often get up at, 4 or 5 in the morning, because that's when but then I also know that's how I learned when I was in college. That's how I always, I wasn't a late nighter, I was a early morninger. And also there was a place that I always liked to write. Sort of like Margaret Mitchell, as we saw last night, wrote in that same little table in the corner. That's where she wrote her novel. Now, that was an interesting case in the sense that that's the only thing she ever wrote. You know, you think, and she thought she could never top what she did. But I agree with you. Now we'll wait to see what happens to the 1,000 pages. By the way, 1,000 pages only worked in Gone with the Wind. I don't know that you're going to get...
Well, this is for 1,000 single pages.
Okay.
So if you put them back to back, it's really...
Oh, okay, okay. Our seminar time is really over. I want to say to those of you who wonder about all of the video equipment here and haven't had a chance to meet Scott, this is... he is videoing this as part of his own life project right now called SFGAM, and it's a website, and their cards, his cards, if you didn't get one last night, are back on the table. Those of you who came in late, I'm going to give one more plug. My novel called Leaving Flatiron Creek, which is about the historic American circus. If anybody's interested in buying it for $10, that $10 will be donated to IFCon. So to all of you for coming, and thank you very much.
Thank you, John.